Hello everyone, I'm Ron Berger. Welcome to the Astrology News Report. This is the special report section, where I'll take a topic or person or situation that is pertinent to world events and do an in-depth astrological analysis. This segment is a special predictive report on the astrology chart of Hillary Clinton, examining her chances for becoming president in the 2016 election. Based on the published birth data, the Vedic astrology birth chart for Mrs. Clinton shows she is Libra Rising, which seems fitting, since Libra is the sign of social idealism. It's a strong chart, with multiple planets in powerful positions. So let's take a look at Ms. Clinton from the viewpoint of Vedic astrology. The ascendant ruler, Venus, is in the first house, along with Mercury, the ruler of the ninth house of beliefs and good fortune, and the Sun, the ruler of the 11th house of ambitions and accomplishment. This is a potent combination. It means that the first house is really strong, and you need a strong first house to succeed in life. Remember that she is a person who came from a modest economic background. Another really important sector of the chart is the 10th house, the house of career and community deeds. Here, too, we find a powerful planetary combination: Mars and Saturn, the planet of action plus the planet of focus. Saturn is a Yoga Karaka planet for Libra rising charts, and thus very beneficial, especially in its strong position. Along with Saturn is Mars, the ruler of the 7th house, and this combination constitutes a Raj Yoga in the 10th, indicating high potential for success in the world, reputation, and status. Both Mars and Saturn are considered natural malefics in Vedic astrology, and when you have two natural malefics in your 10th house, you are willing to do whatever it takes to succeed. Now, let's consider some of the other details in Ms. Clinton's chart. First of all, notice that Mercury, the planet of rational thinking and communication, is retrograde in the chart and very close to the ascendant degree. When Mercury is retrograde, there is a lot of intelligence and capability with abstract knowledge, but simultaneously problems in communicating, especially through speech. The hesitancy in speaking, especially when responding to a question, can raise the suspicions of others. For Libra rising, Mercury represents both the 9th house and the 12th house. The 9th house is the house of beliefs and meritorious deeds. The 12th house is the house of generosity and humanitarian acts. This combination, in one planet, is what has impelled Clinton to be involved in social causes for her whole life. But not everything is perfect in the first house. Mercury, being the 12th house ruler, also represents the karma of hidden actions, and Venus, even if it does rule the ascendant, is also the 8th house ruler, representing the karma of secret activities. Thus, we have two of the so-called bad houses manifesting through the venue of the first house of self. Aside from the practical necessity of a real leader sometimes having to hide their true motives, this does create a predisposition for clandestine activity, which tends to arouse the suspicions of others. We should also take note of the natal moon, which, as the ruler of the 10th house in the 5th house, is in an exchange with Saturn, the ruler of the 5th house, in the 10th. And this forms another important yoga, signifying the positive karmas of the past life manifesting as status and position in this life. The moon is in Aquarius, the sign of the social revolutionary. Ms. Clinton is quoted as saying, "Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion." But note that the moon is in Purvabhadra Nakshatra. This is also somewhat suspicious. The lunar sign Purvabhadra is known as the nakshatra of remorse and regret, symbolized by two faces, one outward-facing and happy, and the other looking inward and unhappy. Purvabhadra has strong principles, which then often create problems. And speaking of principles, note that Jupiter, the wisdom planet and the ruler of the 6th house of struggle, defense, and victory, is placed in her 2nd house of speech, along with Ketu, the significator of past life karma, indicating an inherited propensity to declare her position and to speak out in her own defense. Moving on now to the predictive analysis. We see that Clinton is currently in her Sun major period. For Libra Rising, the Sun rules the 11th house, the sector of the chart that represents goals, ambitions, rewards, and accomplishments. The Sun is the planet of power and authority, and its placement in the 1st house enhances the sense of self, as well as signifying the ability to rule over others. This is in addition to bringing the karma of the 11th house of ambition and rewards to the 1st house of self. If she becomes president, she will still be in her Sun major period throughout her term of office. In 2016, during the lead-up to the election, Ms. Clinton will be in her Mars sub-period from December 2015 until late April 2016. Mars is the planet of energy and action, strong in her 10th house of public life. Mars, along with Saturn, forms a potent yoga for success. So, the beginning months of 2016 will be exceptionally strong for her. After that comes the Rahu sub-period, which will last her through the election until March 2017. Rahu is the significator of ambition in her 8th house of vitality, transformation, financial involvements, and secret activities. This is a somewhat problematic placement in her chart, an indication of doing something that would possibly expose her to another manifestation of the 8th house, humiliation. But Rahu is considered strong, even exalted, in Taurus, the sign of the bull, and the bull does not back down. Also, the 8th house is the house of support. The last months leading up to the election will be all about getting the support of others. Looking over at the transits, we see that in 2016, Jupiter, the planet of opportunity and optimism, will be transiting in Leo, the 11th house of the chart, the same part of the chart that is activated by the Sun major period. This transit is very fortuitous for Ms. Clinton. Jupiter will boost the karma of her 11th house, as well as send a favorable aspect to her natal moon, an excellent transit for getting the favor of the public. Also, with Jupiter, will be Rahu, the significator of ambition and material gain, which is considered very beneficial when transiting through the 11th house. This helps to boost the promise of her Rahu sub-period too. But 3 months before the election happens, Jupiter leaves Leo and enters Virgo, her 12th house. Although this position is not as favorable to her chart, it does have an interesting interpretation in Vedic astrology. Jupiter is the planet of benefits. The 12th house is the unknown. Thus, the potential to benefit from the unknown. In other words, by way of divine providence. In the final analysis, whether or not Hillary Clinton becomes the next president of the United States will depend on who she will be running against. Of course, as soon as that is known, I will be doing a predictive chart for her opponent, and we will see how the two charts play against one another. But whoever the Republican candidate is, he better have a strong chart to defeat Ms. Clinton. Okay, that'll do it for this special report. Thanks for visiting astrologynewsreport.com.